years ago, they used to put out horror movies with like warnings, like, oh, if you have a weak heart, do not watch this movie, or this is not for small children. This could cause permanent psychological damage if you see it. Oh, we're warning you. And of course, that's like trying to scare away ants at a picnic with sugar. That attracts people in. All the kids wanted to see it. But invariably, when you'd watch one of those movies, it'd be like, oh, well, this was a letdown. I was expecting something horrific, and it was pretty mild. That's what reminded me. I was reminded of that when I saw the Elon Musk Donald Trump conversation the other night. I did it on YouTube and Rumble, and I went into the X space that Donald Trump hosted. Yes, Donald Trump is back on X or Twitter. And based on the pre-hype, I was thinking, oh my gosh, they're going to be talking about really red pill radical stuff. They're going to sound like Mustache Man from, our favorite Austrian painter, something wild like that. The EU, they were like, shut it down, shut it down. This was even before it happened. And they were trying to shut down a conversation between a former president, and he's currently, in the race to be the next president again, and Elon Musk. This is crazy. What the fuck do the Europeans have to say about this? But this EU commissioner here, she, Thierry Breton, she should one day be arrested. With great audience comes with great responsibility, as there is a risk of amplification of potentially harmful content. Harmful content was whatever this bitch doesn't like. In connection with events with a major audience around the world, I sent this letter to Elon Musk. So basically, she's pissed that they're worried they're going to talk about immigrants because of all this crime and violence. Oh, we can't have them talk about that. We can't stop our project of replacing white countries. We can't stop that. That's our prime directive. And so Elon Musk, he responded professionally to her letter. Take a big step back and literally fuck your own face. This was the Elon Musk official reply. You got to love Elon Musk. You got to love Elon Musk. And I know what you think. You think, okay, well, this is EU Europe. They don't have a history of freedom. They like to live as slaves with speech controls, stock controls. But in America, fuck yeah, we're free. Well, here was a reporter asking at the press conference, how can we shut down Elon Musk? Take a look at this.
Elon Musk is slated to interview Donald Trump tonight on X. I don't know if the president is going to tune in. Feel free to say if he is or not. But I think that misinformation on Twitter is not just a campaign issue. It's a America issue. What role does the White House or the president have in sort of stopping that, or stopping the spread of that, or sort of intervening in that? Some of that was about campaign misinformation, but it's a wider thing, right?
Yeah. So this was a stage. There's all this hype, and I think it really had a Streisand effect. If you don't know what a Streisand effect is, this is where if you try to ban something, it actually amplifies it. People want to see, forbidden fruit. What's happening? And according to Elon Musk today, they had over 1 billion people at least see part of this. There was like 1.3 million in the spaces last night. I was in there, but then I streamed it. So a lot of people, they didn't watch it in the spaces. So it was really amplified. I don't know how you got the number 1 billion, but a lot of people saw it. And obviously there was powers that didn't want this conversation to happen. It started about 40 minutes late because of a DDoS attack. There was a cyber attack, probably pretty sophisticated, may have been from Europe or from a government agency trying to shut him down. They really want to silence any sort of speech or debate. So that happened. But then the actual event happened, and it wasn't this radical, like Trump, a firebrand. It was opposite. It was very mild. There were a couple guys talking, and a couple of things. Let me talk about the new content. There really wasn't a lot of new content. If you've heard Donald Trump, there's nothing real surprising. It was the same type of themes you've heard over and over. The new content he put out there, information, Elon Musk suggested, let's start a Department of Efficiency. This is the old gag of, let's get waste out of government. Every politician since I have been a kid has said that. Like, who's for waste? That's not really the problem. Yeah, the government is wasteful, but you're not going to reform it. You just need to shut parts of it down, give it back to the private sector. Government is inherently wasteful and bureaucratic. You can't fix it. And most of the spending is entitlement. So it's not, yeah, there is a lot of waste. Don't get me wrong, but that's not the real problem. But Elon Musk, he goes, oh, maybe we should do that. And Trump said, yeah, you could head that up. I don't care. Yeah, whatever. And then the next thing Trump brought up, which I thought was good, is to eliminate the Department of Education. It needs to be done. The DOE is a very radical left-wing organization in Washington. Trump says this should be pushed back to the states. I agree 100%. That was really about the only new stuff. Now, style-wise, because style sometimes counts as much as the actual substance. Again, my initial impression, because everyone went in, oh my God, all the EU's trying to shut this down. This is going to be horrific. It's kind of boring, really. It was a conversation, and I understand it wasn't billed as an interview. But still, when you host a conversation with up to 1 billion people eventually watching, you need to be able to direct it in a way that kind of keeps going along and you don't repeat material. And first of all, I love that Elon Musk did this because you don't see these things anymore where someone sits down with a politician, you just have an open discussion. Everything's really scripted. And Kamala, she was all passive aggressive, bitchy about this. Elon Musk invited her to do a Spaces, but she won't do it. She can't do anything that's not on a teleprompter. She's not very smart. Joe Biden has dementia and senile. Kamala's really a stupid woman, and she'd just be cackling. She couldn't handle this. But she was all catty about Trump doing this. But, she was offered to do this too. But I like the conversational style where it's just not a bunch of sound bites. That's really good. So I'm not against a long format and delving in deep, but you still need a moderator or a host that can kind of guide the conversation so you're not repeating the same subjects over and over. And so I love what Elon Musk did, providing this. But Elon Musk, he's got a lot of strengths, obviously. He's the richest man in the world, very successful. But he's not the best interviewer. He's probably never done this before. I mean, he gets interviewed all the time, but it's rare that he's interviewing someone. And I do that. It's a skill. It's not as easy as it looks, especially someone like Donald Trump that tends to ramble, likes to talk. You got to kind of guide that person along without seeming rude or obnoxious, like you're trying to cut them off, but so they're not repeating themselves. Now, Trump, he should have done better. He's been in the entertainment industry. He should know how to structure this so it keeps on point. But that's another problem style-wise with this. It sounded like a lot of people were complaining that Trump sounded like he was lisping. It sounded that way to me, like he had new dentures or something. It seemed really off, and other people didn't hear it. But then I found out what happened is Trump actually did the interview. He just literally, he didn't have a computer mic like I have right here. He literally just called into the Spaces from his home using his iPhone. He just had his iPhone. He just put it on the table and he was using the iPhone speaker. So it was like a really crappy mic. It's like, come on, dude, this guy's rich. Staff, give him a good mic for something like this. So he had like a horrible mic. He was just talking into an iPhone. And I guess the software compression made it sound kind of off because usually Trump doesn't have that. And so it just didn't happen all of a sudden. So but still, that's stylistically, that was somewhat of an issue. The other style thing that I'm starting to realize Trump is getting old. He's 78 years old. He's sounding like it. Now, that doesn't mean he's sounding senile like Joe Biden. Again, Joe Biden could not have done this interview. 2 hours long, there's just no way. It's kind of laughable to think about. Kamala couldn't do this interview because she's stupid. She can just read teleprompters. Trump did it, so good for him. But at the same time, this isn't a Trump of 10 years ago or 20 years ago where he's a lot more sharp and on point. Trump is getting to be kind of that old man where he meanders type of thing. it's just how it is. I'm not saying that to criticize Trump. I love Trump in many ways, but this is the reality. And so that could hurt in the election. The good thing about, I said it was boring, but in a way that was, you could also say, comforting. So all these people turning in, if they're worried about a crazy fascist, yeah, no, this guy is just, you know who he is. He didn't come across as crazy or really that radical. For people on our side, it was like, oh, great, same old Civ, now Trump. Let's bring in more immigrants as long as they're legal. Yeah, I mean, it's cringy. We need to go beyond that. We got to stop all immigration. But I'll put it this way. Okay, here's the thing. Stopping illegal immigration, deporting illegals, that's still an improvement. I would like to stop it all and import even some legal immigrants. They don't belong here. Like that reporter. Some reporters need to be deported. But, it's not where I want to go. Another thing you have to understand, excitement or buzz doesn't necessarily translate into winning. Ron Paul had a lot of excitement. He didn't, get the presidential nominee. On the Democrat side, Bernie Sanders, all the Bernie bros, he had tons of excitement. That didn't translate. So excitement doesn't necessarily translate. In 2020, Joe Biden really had zero excitement, but he still won. So, you can do it. So I think it was good that just Trump got out the message showing that, he's not that crazy or radical. It's just the same type of things. And I thought that went over well. And Trump focused on the immigration, economy, and world peace. These are his strengths that he does. And I think these are the key issues for the voters. A couple of things I didn't care how Trump responds. He's all about money. Like when Elon Musk brought up the whole censorship danger with like the EU and other organizations, Trump immediately, he didn't address that because this is a human rights violation. He went to say, oh yeah, EU, they got to start paying their more share like with NATO and they're screwing us with trade deals. And I'm like, that's not the question, Trump. The question is about censorship, a violation of our human dignity and rights. Are you saying if they paid their fair share, they can censor us or they could throw innocent people in jail because they don't like what they're saying? Is that what you're saying, Trump? See, Trump just, this is kind of the boomer in him, older boomer. He always goes down these, they're not paying their fair share. If they pay their fair share, I guess it's okay. And so that was a little cringy, or he didn't pick up on it. And again, maybe it's because he's 78 years old, but he should have understood what Musk was really saying there, or maybe Trump's disconnected from that. You wouldn't think he would be because he's been censored himself so much, but he's so rich he can create his own platforms. I don't know. So again, overall, I thought it was a positive for Trump. Will it move the needle? I think so. I think it should help Trump because it shows a lot of, especially moderates, that he's not really that crazy. He's kind of comfortable. He's not a firebrand. It's not going to fire up the base. This wasn't an exciting thing. I can get behind Trump, radical change. No, Trump is like, let's just dial it back. Let's do just common sense things. Let's stay out of World War III. Let's protect our borders. Let's not allow illegals in. Let's put people that commit crimes in jail. Let's try to improve the economy, start drilling for oil again. These are not exciting issues, but they resonate a lot with American people. So I think it was effective that way, even though there were some parts that weren't as good. Talk to you guys later.